Let's continue here now. Our reporter Natasha Phiri is here on the floor of the Results Operations Center, otherwise known as the ROC. Let's go to her now. Natasha, thank you so much for joining us. Of course, the IEC gave its briefing earlier on. Whilst it says, that they're happy with how voting is going so far, there are lots of concerns that are coming out from various vantage points in terms of turnout, of people just coming to vote. We know that the numbers are not looking as well as they did in 2016. But talk to us about just some of the developments from that briefing.
Definitely, Unati, those numbers at 12:35, we had about 3.5 million voters who had actually voted, and this is 13% of that 26.2 million. As you know, that those over 26 million people had actually registered to vote in this year's election. And I mean, just compared to 2016, around 7 a.m. to 12 a.m., that's when most people actually went out in their numbers to the polls. But I mean, Unati, it's still a long day. Polls will be closing at 9 p.m. Anything can happen from now on. But I mean, you talk about a number of other issues that were raised. Earlier on, we spoke about a gentleman, Mr. Lesiba Molokome, who is the Change Party leader. And of course, you would know that the first time around, he bought his bone of contention. He was one of 15 other parties, Unati, whose name, the acronym of his party did not appear on the ballot paper. Now, the IEC seems to have blundered and wronged him again in that, they put the wrong party name by his party logo. And Lesiba joins us right now, as promised earlier on. Mr. Molokome, I mean, how are you feeling right now? It's election day, and I'm sure you got the shock of your life when you went to go vote, and it's a totally different party name next to your logo.
Look, it is actually terrible. This is the biggest mistake ever. About the acronym, we decided to refrain from whatever that we were doing against but however, what we decided now was, look, the IEC wronged us then, but this one is a matter of, it needs immediate attention. That's why we are here. The CEO and the deputy CEO, they called us. They wanted us to come and just talk, sit down with them and see what can be done. Look, you wake up and then you find a message and then you see the ballot papers. Your name, your logo is there, but the name is not the name of change. It is a different political party. That itself will be denying, obviously, the voters their right to vote for the party that they want. Why? Because they walk in there, they get confused as to which one is this one. Plus, we don't have the acronym. It's only the logo and the name under the logo. That's the only advantage we have. But as we sit now, we've been sitting down with the CEO and the deputy, trying to resolve this issue. We put our proposal, because our proposal is just clear. We are saying to the IEC, it will be fair that you stop the elections. However, they say given the time and others, but we are saying we gave you the letter. We sent them a letter at 3:39 this morning. Now it is 2 o'clock when we sat in the meeting, and it is becoming late. However, the IEC accepts that they really have erred. They are not even giving us any problem when it comes to that. We have now adjourned. We'll be going back into the meeting. We continue and see how far we go with the issue.
But do you honestly think that, elections could be postponed? I mean, we live in COVID times right now. Already, I mean, leading up to the elections, there was this huge court battle, the IEC going to the Constitutional Court, asking for the elections to be postponed. The Constitutional Court did not grant the IEC its prayers. Honestly, do you honestly think that elections could be postponed, all in the name of the Change Party?
The Constitution, the Constitutional Court is the guardian of the Constitution of this country. Now, they are expected to consider all the facts, because how will they, at the end of this voting, openly and freely and with confidence declare that the elections were free and fair, if they know it was not free and fair? And then how do they say it is fair? Or, okay, Change, let us leave you, you are a small party and this and that. But we have been wronged. And if we do not stop this, if we do not deal with this issue, it will happen again next time. Another party will be wronged in this way, and then people will be saying, no, it cannot be one against the majority. I think in the name of democracy, in the name of the Constitution and the IEC, loving the country's Constitution, I'm sure they will have that heart of saying, look, we have erred. Now, what do we do? But what can be another option if it is not to stop? Because all we want is for the people to have and to find the name of change on the ballot paper, which is democratically, constitutionally, our right to have that.
Thank you so much, Mr. Malukuma. Let me not just delay you any further. I know I've kept you waiting. Apologies for that. I know you've got a meeting with those IEC officials, and of course you will update us as to what those outcomes are. Well, Unathi, there you have it from Mr. Malukuma saying that elections need to postpone because the IEC has really hurt them in many other ways. Unathi, we saw our colleague Criselda Lewis earlier on outside Luthuli House, where she had, covered a number of Soweto residents who had actually, protested in March to the ANC's headquarters in Johannesburg. And now I'm joined by none other than the Deputy Secretary General of the party, Ms. Jessie Duarte. Thank you so much for joining us on SABC News. Ms. Duarte, we come to you at a time where on the other side there are protesting members of, the Soweto community, and they've gone to Luthuli House raising their grievances, saying that they want services.
Yes, it's not services in general. These are people who claim that they've been on the housing waiting list in Gauteng since 1994. Of course, if one looks at the crowd, there are quite a number of very young people amongst them who might not have been alive in 1994, but that's another matter. We're also aware that the protest is being led by a member, a councillor, a ward councillor from an opposition party, which is fine. It's fair enough. Nothing is lost in an election. Some people treat it like a war. But what we've done is, when we were alerted about the people outside the Luthuli House this morning, we contacted Premier Makura, and we spoke to the MEC Maile, as well as I think they've been in touch with the National Housing Minister to resolve this problem. Being a person who lives in a backyard throughout the country is a problem for many, many citizens in this country. And what we would like to see speedily is something that will give an indication as to how the matter will be resolved, and that all those people who claim they have been on the housing list since 1994 be assisted. And we hope that we have put in a complaint to the IEC about the relevant councillor. We won't take it further in public. We'll wait for an outcome. But that's not the issue. We are concerned that people have raised their voices in connection with housing. That's fine. So let's hope for a good result out of all the discussions that are taking place.
Mr. Duarte, you've been here very early in the morning, and I suppose you're going to still be here after 9 p.m. I mean, just your general observations of what actually is happening here at the ROC. Are you happy?
The ROC, nothing much happens here. This is where people sit and analyze. We're quite happy with the manner in which the elections are going at the moment. As we speak now, queues are doubling up in most of our base areas, and that's a good sign. It means that people did take off the morning, and they are now going out to vote. We'd like to encourage more Soweto voters to go out and vote, especially Soweto and PE and other major areas. But as far as we can see, things are running smoothly. Here and there, of course, there would be difficulties. The IEC is running a massive election, and it isn't expected that 100%, every zip machine will work, and there have been problems about PR ballots not being there and so on. That's been resolved. So all in all, I think we're feeling good. And no matter the outcome, I think it's a very peaceful election, and it shows that our democracy is strengthening and is a very good democracy.
Mr. Duarte, of course, you'll be here, so we will have this conversation later on. Thank you so much. Of course, that was the Deputy Secretary General of the ANC addressing issues that you've seen there in Luthuli House as well. With that said, Unathi, let me cross back to you.